Today I am home from work. I am ill. I think it's the season. I know a lot of people being ill at the moment. But yeah, but I'm ill too, as you might hear from my voice. It's a bit, because I have a sore throat. I'm also stuffed up, as colds are, or make you, or yeah. So I'm drinking tea from my lovely I'm a Reader, What's Your Superpower mug. I can link to the shop where I bought it in the description box below. It's from Next Page Creations. They have a lot of really nice bookish merch. It's on Society 6. Society 6, yeah. So yeah. I'm drinking a spiced tea, if you're wondering. A spiced tea, it's a spiced tea without cinnamon, because I'm allergic to cinnamon. And I have some Oatly barista milk in it, because I don't drink black tea without milk. Plant milk, mind you. So yeah. Cheers. But what I'm going to do is talk about this book here, The Testament by Margaret Atwood. I have read The Handmaid's Tale, though it's been quite a few years since I read it. I read it on my e-reader. When was it? It was before the series. I don't know where to put my arms. So yeah, I read that. This book, on the other hand, would I recommend it reading it without having read The Handmaid's Tale first? Not really, to be honest. Well, actually, you might actually see the first season of the TV series. I have not seen the whole series. I've seen the first season and then half of the second. And it's very dark, and I haven't finished it. I might at some point, but not right now. I'm not very good at following TV series. I'm not even done with the new series of Doctor Who, which I love, but I have to borrow it from the library, and because it's not on HBO, which is the only streaming service I have, because I get it free from my provider. I'm not paying extra for a streaming service because I don't have the money. Anyway, so The Testaments by Margaret Atwood I got from my partner as a birthday gift. I had my birthday at the end of October, and I was very thrilled to get it, and I was very eager to read it as well. So that is one of the two books I read in November. You might remember from a previous video that I only read two books in November, and this was actually my first November read, and I really enjoyed it. So if you see this guy here, that is Nissa. He's a little Christmassy fella, with his red hat and beard and things like that. It's a figure from Norwegian folklore. They lived on the farm. This is like a digression from what I'm going to talk about, but I just wanted to mention it. But we take them, they kind of connected to Christmas. Tradition is to, if you live on a farm, you will put out a bowl of porridge for the Nissa at Christmas Eve, or is it, I think it's Christmas Eve, so that, or during the day on Christmas Eve, we celebrate Christmas Eve in Norway, so that they can eat their porridge because they take care of the animals. Anyway, The Testaments. This book is set 15 years after the events of The Handmaid's Tale, and it's kind of seen from the point of view of three women. One is Aunt Lydia, which we get to know both in the TV series and from The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm not sure if you've read it or seen it, but she doesn't really appear as a very nice person. Um, in this book, you get to see her thoughts, and she kind of explains some of the reasons behind why she acts the way she acts, and that is something that I really found interesting, because the world is not black and white, as you probably know, as we all know. There are a lot of gray areas there. There's also two young women in this the viewpoint of this in this book. There is one who lives in Canada and one who actually lives within Gilead. So the regime still has its tight claws around people and around Gilead and the people of Gilead. So a lot of people try to escape Gilead. It's a theocratic country. It's a republic, but if you know anything about Gilead, it's not exactly democratic, which you could probably talk a lot about as well, but I'm not going to. I really enjoyed this book. It's very well written. It's for me, it was a huge page turner. I really enjoyed kind of getting to know more about the kind of some of the characters that I knew from The Handmaid's Tale that I read ages ago. And it was really interesting. I also find it very interesting that Margaret Atwood has told her fans or reporters or journalists or interviewers that everything she writes about in both in The Handmaid's Tale and also in the Testaments, if you kind of think that, oh my goodness, how can people do these things? The thing is, they have happened. All of the actions has happened at some point in history. Some of them are even happening now, and it's kind of, when I had read The Handmaid's Tale that came out in the 80s, I was kind of thinking this was, I don't remember exactly when it was, I have to go back. It was like 5 or 6 years ago or something. It was before the series anyway. And what I thought was like, oh goodness, it's kind of scary how this was actually published in the 80s and this is still a thing. This is still a thing. She describes things that are highly actual. Aktuelle in Norwegian. Yeah, they're kind of current. They're very current. So that is also a very interesting thing. I also find it interesting to see, you can actually see things that are happening in the world today, and kind of, because there are things that happened before, and you would think that if you learn history in school, I'm not sure if people don't learn history in school, some people, or they don't pay attention to it, but there are like things that had happened and it's happening again. It didn't go well last time. Maybe they should kind of get a hint from that. Also, I think it's kind of interesting to see how people use religion as a cover-up or a reason for their actions. As we have seen through history, a lot of people has used their religion as a mean of getting power. It's like a lot of religious books, especially the Bible, which is the book I know the best, because I've never read the Quran. I've read the Bible, or not the whole Bible, but I read parts of the Bible, and there's so many parts of it that are contradictory. So it's easy to find something you can easily cherry pick and pick things that kind of strengthen your thoughts or your ideas. So this isn't a critique against religion per se. It's more about people who use religion as their reason for doing what they do, but when it's actually they say they're religious and they use religion, but what they really are talking about is using power. They want power, and yeah, it's, in my opinion, not a good thing. So yeah, I really enjoy this book. I can highly recommend it, but I would recommend reading A Handmaid's Tale before you actually read this. And that's it for today, and I hope you will subscribe and like and comment. I would love to hear your thoughts about this book if you've read it. If you've read The Handmaid's Tale, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. Yeah, and I hope you have a good day and that you're not ill like me. And if you are, get well. Bye! Oh, and if you hear the music in the background that I have, it's a playlist with Nordic folk rock. So I will link to my to the Spotify list that I have, the playlist in the doobly-doo. So that's it for today, and I will see you in my next video, whenever that will be. Bye!